So welcome back to the channel. We've finally got some progress updates for you with the SCV8. First up though, we're going to strip down the suspension and pull out the gearbox. We're going to fire it up on the air jacks. We did have a broken pipe for the air jack feed, which we've now replaced. We will replace all of this before we go racing. We don't want any failures. But for the moment, we're just going to get it up onto some axle stand so it's secure. Then we can pull all the wheels off and start stripping gearbox and suspension. We're going to pull the wheels off. These are centre lock, so they haven't been off for a while. We did change the wheels when we first got it, so it isn't the first time they're off, but they're pretty chewed up, so we will replace these and do all the bearings anyway, but we're just going to pull them off for the moment and then strip it down and go from there.
5 hours later.
Before we take any of this apart, we thought we'd just talk through the basic setup. So the X-Type shell is literally just a shell, so it has a full box section chassis. So they've been able to completely design their own suspension setup. So it's pretty much exactly how you would kind of want it. You've got solid upper and lower wishbones that are round tube. These are all adjustable with solid rose joints, so we can adjust this any which way we want. We've got adjustable track arms on the rear as well, so we can trim toe settings. Dampers originally were a three-way Penske, so we're going to get these off and we're going to get these tested and see what the shim stacks are and stuff in the damper, so we know where we are before we start. Obviously this car was developed in 2000, so a lot's changed. We're going to be using a different tyre to what they were running, so we may need to, one, look at different damper rates, different spring rates. We just don't know yet, but we'll pull these off, have a look where they are before we start, and then we can go from there.
Gonna come off though,
I'm not that efficient. Nice. Hey, these are light. Ooh. So just pulling the brakes off, running touring spec AP calipers. Just had a quick look, also interestingly running the Frodo Racing 2500. So we do use these, so we'll probably stick with that, to be honest with you. As you all know, we do a lot of work with Tarok, so we'll probably run the AP calipers still. But we'll probably look at going with a direct replacement in the Tarots because these are all corroded and need replacing. Put it straight down the floor. So we now got the driver's side rear stripped out. We've got the upper wishbone, hub assembly, lower wishbone all complete, and the damper. We actually struggled stripping this in place. It's quite seized, so we obviously want to see exactly how this comes apart. So we decided to just pull all the assembly out in one hit. And as you can see, it is pretty rusty. So we'll get all the rest of the car stripped. So we're going to move on to the front next. Once we've got that stripped, we'll get these back up on the bench and we'll strip them individually so we can see exactly how it goes. And then we'll send all of the bits over to Andrew at Amitech to get all of these nicely Cerakoted so it's all brand new and refit with all new bearings and rose joints, etc. We're now pulling out the gearbox. We've got a ring of bolts on the top. It's a bit of an unusual setup because it's a transaxle, so the clutch assembly is at the back of the car rather than at the front, and it has a torque tube through the centre, so that's already off. We're going to undo these bolts on the top, as I said, undo the bolts around the bell housing, and then pull the gearbox out. Clutch. Come out. What size was it? Alright, that's it, it's off now. So that's the gearbox pulled out. As you can see, it's a Hewland transaxle assembly. Actually, it was easier than I expected to pull out of the car, so we're going to now take this over to Andrew and Alan at CNC Motorsport. I haven't done much with this gearbox. The JP1 gearbox is different to this Hewland, so they're going to show us what's inside these. We're going to strip it down, check all the settings and go from there. So we've left the bell housing and clutch assembly still in place. I'm going to strip that down next and remove the clutch. Obviously we'll replace that. We don't know if there's any wear on that, so we'll just put all new, but it's backwards to most of the other applications we work with because it's a transaxle setup, has a torque tube directly from the V8 to the back, and the clutch assembly bolts onto the back here, which is pretty much backwards. So we're going to strip that down and get all that ready. The other thing we're looking at doing is, currently it has a stick shift that's in the car. We're looking to upgrade the Hewland gearbox to go over to a pneumatic paddle shift, so we'll have the shifting on the steering wheel. We'll then upgrade all the electronics so that we can have flat shift, etc. That's probably the only upgrade we're going to do to the gearbox. Other than that, they're really good and reliable. We just need to make sure it's in perfect mechanical order before it goes back in. Now we've got the rear assembly gearbox out, I'm going to move on to the front setup. So I'm just going to pull the calipers off first, then remove the hubs and wishbones. You want that, dog? Can hear the float in those. So as you can see on the back of the hub, there's an aluminium fabricated air duct which runs to the front, so that'll direct air in, and then through these holes, which will then in turn direct cold air onto the inside of the discs there. It's a nice little design touch, that. So that's the end of episode 2. We got everything we need to strip down off the car. In the next episode, we're going to pull all the hubs apart, get those down to the coaters, then we're going to strip down the gearbox and the dampers, maybe even get those on a dyno and see where they are before we start. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.